Hi there. The new year is a really great time for us to set new goals for ourselves. And I thought what we could do today is talk a little bit about what kind of piano goals we have for ourselves this year, and maybe see if we can't support each other and encourage each other to achieve our piano dreams this year. I thought what I could do is share three pieces of advice that I have based on my years of experience, both learning piano and teaching piano, that I think would help set you up to create goals that are as motivating and sustaining as possible. So today I will share those three pieces of advice. And then at the end, I will share some of my own goals for this year that are taken directly from these pieces of advice that I'm sharing with you. So let's get started. The first piece of advice that I have for you is that you choose to start your plans from a place of joy and delight. For too many people, the piano is assigned to them of their inadequacy in some way, that they're not measuring up in some way. And to me, that is just unacceptable. Your piano does not judge you. Your piano is a tool for creative expression. And the idea that your piano plans might be measuring you or evaluating you in some way or your worth as a musician, I think unfortunately stems from the link between music education and formal education, where the Institute of Formal Education is very much built up around measuring and evaluating against your peers and this kind of thing. That could not be further from the truth when it comes to learning piano. Let's remember that music is an art, not a science. Music is a gift for your joyful, creative expression. And I would encourage you to try to build plans that help promote more of that sense. Try not to compare yourself to your peers. The purpose of music is not to emulate others, but to find your own voice. And I really encourage you to try to find plans for yourself this year that help you express that voice. These positive feelings that you build up are going to be the feelings that motivate you when you encounter the challenge of learning this year. Now that we have agreed to start from a place of joy and delight, my second piece of advice for you is to try to notice the difference between ego-based goals and heart-based goals. Ego-based goals are the kinds of goals that make us feel that other people would be really impressed if they knew we were working towards this goal. Heart-based goals are the kinds of goals that make us happy and satisfied to accomplish, even if no one else agreed with us that they are good goals, or if no one even knew that we were doing it. Now, I'm not going to pretend that ego never comes into play when we are learning to play piano, but I am going to encourage you to try to find some balance in that this year. Every time you choose an ego-based goal, your self-worth becomes attached to how well you play. And I can tell you from experience that that is a miserable way to sit down at your piano. But if you choose heart-based goals, you will be constantly growing towards your own truer self-expression. And that kind of motivation is incredibly self-sustaining, and it makes practicing a joy. So my wish for you is that you would be able to find the courage to continually choose heart-based goals for yourself this year. My third piece of advice is that you consider finding a balance between big goals and small goals this year. Big goals are the kinds of projects that deliberately grow your skills in a really noticeable way. Small goals feel like lower hanging fruit, but they are basically projects that either simply review your skills that you already have, or they expand on them in a smaller way. It is really hard for my students to find a balance between big goals and small goals because usually they are so eager to learn piano that they only want to take on big projects. They only want to practice songs that are going to expand their skills in ways that their friends and family would notice. And I totally get that because it's so exciting to see your skills grow. The benefit of including smaller projects in your plans for this year, though, is that you gain a greater sense of accomplishment over the course of that year, and you gain a greater variety of experience. There is a huge benefit to learning a song from start to finish. But if you're only choosing really big goals for yourself, you'll experience that maybe only 3 times a year, maybe 4. But if you were to take on a big project, but then intersperse it with smaller projects, you could experience the satisfaction of completing music maybe 20, even 30 times a year. Okay, so those are my 3 pieces of advice. Now I would like to share with you some of the goals that I have for myself this year in case it helps you think about how to balance ego versus heart and big versus small. So I will start by saying that I too felt the pressure to choose an ego-based goal when I was planning out this video. As a piano teacher, I felt some pressure to choose a piano-based goal that was going to be very impressive for my students and my new social media friends. But I have enough experience choosing ego-based goals that I started to recognize the heaviness that I felt in my heart when I started to think about that. And so I pulled myself out of that idea and I started to just really reflect on what would really make me feel like really proud of myself and excited to do, even if no one else thought that it was cool. And for me, it really ended up coming down to teaching. I don't really have any piano-based goals for myself this year, but I do have a lot of teaching-based goals for myself this year. Teaching goals that would make me feel very proud of myself, even if no one else agreed with me that they were awesome. So for my teaching-based goals, I have a smaller goal and I have a larger goal. My big goal is to learn how to expand the kind of content that I can create. I have really enjoyed learning how to create videos and how to talk about piano and music theory on YouTube for the last couple of years. And my big goal is related to this. Up until this point, my videos have been about anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes long. For myself this year, I would like to expand on this and I would like to try my hand at planning and delivering longer form content. So I am thinking something along the lines of like a 1-hour webinar. That's something I would like to try this year. This is a big project for me because I've never planned a 1-hour webinar before. And I would basically be starting this from scratch. I don't even know what I want to host a webinar on at this point. This is a big project that I would be undertaking from start to finish. On the other hand, when it comes to smaller goals that I have for myself, a smaller goal that I have is actually related to my music composition, my music writing. And this is partially inspired by how much engagement I've had here on this channel on my videos related to music writing. I'd forgotten how much I like talking about music composition, and I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed writing music myself. I have a composition book here that I always keep at my piano, and I write down snippets and fragments of music that I think sounds nice. But it's been a really long time since I pulled any of these fragments together into a complete song. And so something like that is going to be my smaller goal for this year. I don't have any pressure on myself that I have to write an entire song from start to finish, but I would like to try to see if any of these fragments fit well enough with each other that I could string them into a longer song. And that again is an example of a small goal because I'm working with what I already have. I'm not starting from scratch. I'm just going to be building on something I already have. So yes, that's my plan for this year. So I hope that this was helpful. My 3 pieces of advice, just to recap, are to start from a place of joy and delight. Be mindful of ego-based goals versus heart-based goals, and to try to find a balance between large and small projects. So if any of this has been inspiring to you, I would love if you shared some of your own goals for this year in the comments below. And, maybe we can find some community and support and encouragement in each other as we, encourage each other along on our piano plans for 2024. And if the idea of a 1-hour webinar sounds interesting to you, then I am starting this from scratch. I don't even have ideas for this yet. So if there is a topic or a skill that you would be interested in hearing about for an hour at a time, I would love if you left your suggestions in the comments as well. So here's to the new year. I hope you have a wonderful and joyful and successful year ahead. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.